All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen.
14 children, he confirmed, have been killed in this shooting, along with a teacher at Robb Elementary School in the Uvalde district there. The alleged gunman is also dead.
In a sweeping ruling that overturned a half a century of precedents, 5 justices ended the right of American women to choose abortion under the Constitution.
The things that we take for granted, such as water, who knew that we would depend so much on it when it's available to turn on? But now it's not even safe to drink.
We are coming on the air because the war in Ukraine has begun. Just minutes after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation in eastern Ukraine.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to, I guess, our first kickoff for the Wednesday night chat session for this new season that we're going into. We are really excited. We have some great ones that are going to be coming down the pipe with Dr. K starting on the 21st. But tonight we had an impromptu one that we wanted to do. So there is a hot movie that just came out. It's in movie theaters. It's available on Peacock, and it's called Honk For Jesus, Save Your Souls. And it's a movie that seems to have either struck a big chord with people, either for good or for bad, whatever. So either way, tonight I do have a special guest. You know who she is. She will be on in a second. But first, I'd like to show the trailer. If you're not familiar with this movie, I'm going to play the trailer for you real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and get started into our discussion for tonight, okay?
I just want to clarify some things before we get started. Every woman is not built for the great responsibility of being a first lady.
Pastor Lee Curtis Childs faces allegations of misconduct. His megachurch may never be the same.
Lee Curtis and I, we're going to get to the other side.
You there? Yeah, with the big old microphone. Come in closer, son. You gonna see what all the fuss is about. Showtime.
What's up? Fresh is our turn, baby.
Lee Curtis is a talent, a star.
Oh, boy.
We can edit around that, right? This is gonna chronicle the ultimate comeback. I'm Rocky up in this fight.
Rocky didn't win.
But he did win in Rocky 2. Lord, baby, how many times I gotta tell you, get past the first movie? That was all set up.
He is just so wrong. He needs someone to harness it all.
Oh, bless your heart. I'm sure plenty of the old congregation will come right on back through good old Wanda the Greater Pat's door. You have a blessed one.
Oh, my goodness. And you have a blessed...
I'm a sinner, but I'm no criminal.
We need you back in that pulpit so you can get me back on that stage.
You ain't really getting that many babes, baby.
Shake it for the Lord. Shake it for the Lord.
I said, shake it for the Lord. In my house for the Lord.
All those folks out there who are going to see this, I want them to know that I did what I was supposed to do.
I just don't see how that's possible.
All things are possible with God. That's Matthew 19:26.
Yes, it is.
So that's good. You can cut.
In theaters and streaming only on Peacock September 2nd.
All right, so that was the trailer for Honk For Jesus. All right, bring it on to the chat right now. You know her, I know her. She has taken a break from her her yearly vacation. She's coming back a week early, and I'm glad about that. I like y'all to give a big round of applause. Throw some hearts up. Throw some thumbs up for Pastor Karen Vanessa Johnson, who is joining us tonight. I'm sorry, we're going to be real informal. Hi, Ma. How you doing?
Hi, Richard.
Karen, you doing okay?
I'm fine, Richard. How are you?
I'm well, ma'am. I'm good. So just to let you all know, we are having a very informal conversation tonight. We're talking about a movie. We really should have Pastor Darrell on because truth be told, Pastor Darrell is the pastor. Yeah, he should have been on tonight. But either way, Mom, let's talk it out. I mean, let's get to it. First of all, we're kind of saucy tonight, aren't we? We're up past your bedtime, huh?
Yeah, definitely. We'll be listening around after the 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, so Honk For Jesus. So okay, what happened was this weekend, shameless plug, my wife and I did celebrate our 4th wedding anniversary, and we're local, we're trying to love and marriage. And we were just hanging around, and then we hung out with my mom and sister one day. We went to have a nice breakfast, and then we said, you know what, let's go see Honk For Jesus. I had only seen one ad for it, so I had one expectation. But Mom, when I suggested to you, let's go see the movie, what did you come in expecting? What did you think was going to happen?
Not what I saw. Not what I saw, not what I heard. To be honest, I hadn't even heard of the movie until that week.
Mm-hmm.
It was early in that week, and Eric had mentioned it, but I hadn't heard of it until I think maybe it was a day or two before. It might have been around Thursday when I saw an advertisement because it was premiering on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when I went in, I went in with an entirely different expectation. I just thought it was going to be this humorous comedy about the church. I'm going in ready for some, let's see what these people are going to do, and ready for some laughs. And yeah.
That's a good way of saying it. I think I've only seen one preview, but with some people, it's like, if you know certain actors, you like, okay, they can't miss. So Sterling K. Brown, he does not miss. It don't even matter if he's doing a 5-second role, even in Black Panther, he doesn't miss.
Yeah.
And then Regina Hall, she's awesome. She's been in the game for a minute. It's like she does not miss. So I'm like, okay, Regina Hall, Sterling K. Brown playing pastors in a movie called Honk For Jesus. This has got to be stupid. So I mean, come on, you don't get any more funny than Honk For Jesus. So I'm figuring, it's going to be, something humorous, and I don't think I'll really laugh that much. But overall, yeah, what I got was not what I was expecting. And I'm seeing a couple of people put that on here that they thought it was a comedy also, and what they got was something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had my little chuckles. There was some parts in there that and we want to give some spoiler alerts here for anyone who may not have watched it. So we're going to try to be careful not to give away, because everybody may not be like me. I go to the last chapter in the book to find out what happens. So, but
and I just forget, so I just give spoilers on it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm trying to think now. When did I realize in watching the movie that this is not what I thought it was going to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we were as it was going along, and I was like, this is sounding very familiar. This is sounding like something I've heard before. And and of course it's loosely, well, I'm saying loosely based on what happened with Eddie Long and his congregation. But I had to be honest with you, I really can't say loosely. It was, you just didn't put the name in it. I mean, and the movie is set in Atlanta.
Of all places.
Of all places.
Right. You put it right there, right when this church is.
Yeah. It was tough. It was really tough. I mean, there were parts, I have to be honest, that it was disturbing. And it was disturbing because for me, it was the reality of it. It's this like, this is real stuff, and it's hurtful. But at the same time, it's real.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this before we even get right in it, I guess. From what I'm seeing, at least what I've seen online, like I as soon as the movie finished, I posted online. I was literally walking out the theater that Regina Hall, you know, she deserves every award for this.
Oh man, yeah.
Regina Hall killed.
She was.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've seen her in various things, but I've never seen her go off like that.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I mean, even Sterling was good for what he was, but he couldn't hold it against her in this one. In my opinion. Yeah, she just.
But I think it was by design.
Oh yeah. Because she was the main character.
She was it really was her story. It was from her, in my opinion, from her point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about him, you know.
Right.
So, but yeah, she was superb.
Yeah,
she was superb.
But the funny thing is, though, is that it seems like some of the reactions for this has been mixed. It's like I feel like, especially with well, even though he did not write the movie, he was an executive producer, Jordan Peele. And I feel like with some of his movies, except for Get Out, it's either pretty much you love it or you hate it. Now, I know he was not the main writer. That was another person named Adama Ebo who was the writer. But why do you think there was such a sharp divide with I saw a post that said that people on Facebook hated it, but people on Twitter and Instagram loved it. So why do you think it could have such a sharp divide? I mean, I know that's a hard question, but.
Yeah, I think part of it, why it was, it could be so challenging, is because it is the regard of how people hold the church and the expectations that they have of church leaders and of pastors. And I think for some people, because like you said, to me, it was not a middle ground with people who've seen it. You either liked it or you didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And I think for some, the reason that they didn't care for it is not that, it's because it was speaking the truth, but sometimes you just don't want to air your laundry in public. And so let's not put it out there, but let's try to take care of this behind closed doors. Whereas you have one side, it's like, no, let's go ahead and out here and speak truth to the issue. Mm. So I think the divide comes in with, I think sometimes it has to do with your generation, and what you maybe have come up with, and how you see and view pastors and view leaders. But then at the same time, we cannot just say that it's only older pastors who have committed such violations, because you got these young ones out here who are off the chain. Okay, mm-hmm. So clergy misbehavior is no respecter of age, generation, or anything of that nature.
Yeah. One of the immediate things I thought about with this movie is I believe it was a class you ran a few years ago, which was When Angels Fall. And yep. That led into, clergy misconduct and safe sanctuary and everything like that. But what was interesting was that
here, I got the receipts.
You got the receipts. Okay.
I got the receipts. In fact, can I read this part to you? And I wrote this back.
No, go ahead.
I wrote this back in 2014, and
that's how long ago it was?
Yeah.
And, wow.
And my document was called Correcting the Systemic Effects of Clergy Misconduct in the 21st Century Church.
Okay.
All right. And so what I started with, I said, clergy misconduct and its impact on the Christian church and community has not always been a topic readily addressed in the faith community. It is suggested that the lack of confronting the issue is due to the sacred trust clergy are given and the Christian faith they symbolize. The faith community assumed clergy, and this is in quotes, should not, did not, and would not abuse their power. In light of that assumption, it was believed an accusation of clergy misconduct would damage the integrity of God, the church, and the Christian community. So therefore, victims that dared to come forth were further victimized by the church's failure or refusal to seriously consider and address the accusation. And if anything was done, it usually involved moving the pastor or the priest to another congregation or parish. Hence, the church lived in denial, and victims of clergy misconduct were often placed under a cloak of silence.
That was very loaded.
Yeah.
Why is there such a cloak of silence and such a I can't believe it when it comes to clergy? And the funny thing about it is that in some instances you hear people say, you know, oh, they're clergy, they're just like anybody else. They can sin like anybody else, but at the same time, it's always a bigger ripple when clergy does sin like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And it can kind of go both ways because, you know, one thing that was in the movie that was very significant, in my opinion, it was the Faithful Five.
Right.
Faithful Five who justified and gave all the kind of excuses for the pastor's behavior. And so you're always going to have a group of people who, no matter how foul the pastor could be, they're still going to justify. They're still going to say, they're going to give some rules. Yes, he's human, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. And so I thought that part of the movie was very significant too, that you have five and just, you always got the faithful few who are going to hold on no matter what they hear or see, they're going to be able to justify instead of trying to bring that person into accountability.
You know what your husband said once upon a time. He said that it really doesn't matter what you preach or what you do. There's always going to be someone that will follow you.
Yeah, there will be. And I mean, just how for real some of this stuff is, you know, not calling any names, it's not in this particular state,
right.
But when I was in seminary, they were sharing of how there was this particular pastor, mega church.
Mm-hmm.
He had his wife and he had his girlfriend, both in the church. The congregation knew about it.
Let me back that up. You say he had his wife and his girlfriend in the
same church.
Okay.
His wife, everybody knew about it, including the wife. Everybody knew, but they never checked him. And the reason they never checked him was because, and this was a direct quote that came from folks, that he was such a good preacher.
Wow.
He could preach the word. But you can see that. I mean, I know folks were really offended. You know, some people were really offended by Honk For Jesus. But come on now, just to show how long and how deep this stuff has been going on. Anybody online here, you guys remember watching, what was it, last year when Respect came out, the one with Jennifer Hudson?
Yeah.
Respect, that whole movie, yes, it was about Aretha, but the second line of the story was about her ratchet father too. C.L. Franklin was ratchet. But yet people were willing to accept that. You didn't hear anything about, oh, wow, you know, they're really talking down about the church. When it was right in your face with Respect. It was right there.
Right.
You know, so yeah, what did it say? He was saving souls. Yeah,
he was saving souls. Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
It does seem in a way that sometimes the more pastors like, the more grace they're given, despite sometimes, or as gifted as they may seem to certain people, that they're given a lot more leeway, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, you're higher up and just wanting to hold on to the position and to the power, and that's really what Honk For Jesus. It was they were going to do whatever, fight tooth and nail to hold on to position. And if you notice in the movie, when what was Sterling Brown's character? Something like Curtis. Lee Curtis. He would talk about saving souls, but it was always I.
Right.
Almost everything he started off with was I. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? You know, there was somebody who was kicked out of heaven kept on saying about I, but he was always talking about I'm doing this. I am the preacher. I'm saving souls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So you want to get into that now? You want to just get into talking about some of the characters, or
yeah, we can jump.
How you want to play it?
Yeah. Hey, you leading this conversation. So
no. This is a I'm not gonna say it's a round table. This is just us across the table just chatting.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the characters.
All right, because I actually watched it again right before we got online. So it's kind of one of those where, like we said initially, you came in expecting comedy, but as soon as the opening shot came up of that creepy looking Jesus came on the screen, like, wait a minute, what's happening? And then
let's talk about that too.
Oh, go ahead. All right.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying we can come back to it because now that you mentioned it, that had to have some symbolic reason. There was some symbolism for this creepy Jesus.
It had to be, and there was the first thing it made me think of, there was a movie called Dogma that came out years ago, back in the 90s. It was a Kevin Smith movie, and the priest, you remember George Carlin?
Yeah.
He was all anti-religion as they came, but he was the cardinal of this one church, and he said that the image of the crucifixion was too gruesome for today's church, so he wanted to have Buddy Christ. And basically it was a picture, it was a statue of Christ going like this, like pointing his fingers at people, like, hey, what's up? Yeah. So that was his image. So the first thing when I saw that, I'm like, man, that reminds me of Buddy Christ. What are we doing here? So yeah, that was the first thing. But then right after it got off that creepy picture of Christ, it went to Regina Hall, or Trinity, as her name was, inside the church, and you hear her voiceover, but you just see her looking down and looking defeated. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, this ain't gonna be what I thought it was. So what is up? And you hear her giving that kind of a word of hope, but yet she's still looking defeated. So it's kind of like that plays into her character the whole way through. It's like you are trying to speak positive, but deep down this isn't right.
Yeah. It wasn't that whole thing. That Jesus looked like he was part he had dreads and all this other stuff. But
somebody a couple people pointed out that it looked like he was crying, which is true. When you really look at it, it looked like there was tears coming down. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what Jesus wept. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Well,
over this,
I don't know. Maybe the real Jesus, because they used that Jesus to resemble him. I don't know. But we see some good comments on here, so we just want to remind anyone, if you want to jump into this conversation, come on screen with us. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. Just type in "let me in" and we will let you in. So, I see "let me in." That's you putting it in there.
That's me putting it in.
I see some folks on here.
Oh yeah, so you've seen some people that have seen this movie that are.
I see Kim Henson on here. I see Kiana Makel on here. I thought I saw. Yes, I did. I saw Dr. Lavanya McIntyre on here.
She's a great one. Yeah, Christopher Vincent. But hey,
So you guys anybody want to jump in? Your sister want to jump in?
Erica.
Yeah.
She's uninvited.
She just invited herself in. Look, she want to jump in. She gonna jump behind me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send her a link now.
You don't need to. No, you don't need to see me. Can you hear me?
I can. What the world? What are we doing? This is
not doing that. Get on in here.
We're gonna be professional. For once in our life, we're gonna do something with dignity.
You said it's informal. The church needs a revamp. They need like an Olivia Pope to come in and clean up.
Now, what do you mean? How do you mean that?
Like the church as a whole. Like I think the movie really It showed, like you guys were saying, it definitely shows a mirror, but it shows a mirror on a lot of things that at least I think I can say for my generation that we kind of sometimes have problems with the church in general. And I think right now the church universal is in need of a PR revamp. You know, because we are used to the pastors that don't do right. You know, even the guy who, what is he in Brooklyn? The one who had a church that was like a storefront, but he wearing Gucci and the whole 9 yards. It's almost like it's hard to see what is real and what's not because you keep seeing all this scandal.
And the young ones go after him too.
Right.
And we can name some others. But I think the church needs more than a PR, in my opinion. The church needs an enema.
Ooh. Oh, you're gonna offend some people with that one. I know you said that before. Folks got tight with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and explain that one. Break that down a little bit.
The church really needs to be cleansed because so much we have not necessarily addressed. We have covered. We didn't want to rock the boat. We didn't want to upset anyone. We didn't want the tithes to stop coming in. You know, we didn't want to lose position or power. And then a lot of times it just had to do with just plain, sometimes it didn't have anything at all to do with it. A lot of times it just had to do with the fact that people were maybe just embarrassed and humiliated by the position that they were placed in. And so they did keep things quiet, you know, so it wasn't always a thing that, you know, people were holding on to position just because they want position. Sometimes you can go through something that is so humiliating, so disturbing, you don't want people to know, and you try to cover it up and you try to hide it. Whereas the church does not always provide an opportunity where people can come as clergy can come, and clergy can be for real about what they're going through, and then trying to deal with it, because that's why you have a lot of clergy who don't speak up, because they don't find a safe place where they can say, I'm struggling with this, you know, I'm feeling burnt out. And you end up with a lot of clergy who are leaving the ministry, who are leaving the pastorate. So it's
committing suicide.
Yeah, it's a lot to it. And so there's so many traditions and things, that man-made traditions that have been put into place. And just historically, from a Black perspective, how the church has been in the forefront out of necessity. It has been the gathering place for us. It's been the place where we may not find respect out in the world, but when we got into the church, we could find respect. You know, out in the world, he was just a boy, or she was somebody mammy. But in the church, you know, she was deaconess so-and-so, or he was deacon so-and-so. And so we got that respect. So the church has its position, but when I'm saying the church needs an enema, it's really a true revival and time to step back, be truthful and honest about where we are, and then allow the Holy Spirit to do what the Holy Spirit wants. Because I think that's all part of what's this whole pandemic, because the God uses whatever, you know, God didn't bring the pandemic on, but I mean, the pandemic shut the church down. It needed to sit down and have an opportunity to look at itself. And there are some things that we need to stop doing. The season is over with. There are other things that we need to now move to and to transition into. And, you know, and of course, there are things that we just need to release. So, you know, and that it just caused everybody to step back a moment, and it's time for a cleansing. But I do want to say this too, that we have to be careful how we talk about the church.
Okay.
Because the church is Jesus' bride, which means it's Jesus' wife. You got to be careful how you talk about another man's wife. And so while we are critiquing the church, the critique should be from a place of love and concern, and not from a place of condemnation, because we don't have that right to do that, because the church belongs to Jesus Christ. And so while we are discussing that with that in mind, because we don't want to put ourselves in that position where we're cutting down the church, and the church is the bride of Christ. You don't want to cross that line.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Jamal Bryant had a sermon right after the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock incident. And it's like, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, talking about the church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, you know, but yeah, there's a lot that we need to address. And when we're saying the church is not, it's not necessarily, it's not all church leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You got to deal with the pew, the folks in the pew.
Yeah.
The folks sitting in the seat. So it goes along the way there.
Whew. All right. Okay. Where are we going now?
Okay. So we're gonna talk about the cat. We don't have anybody want to jump in here yet.
They just listening to us banter back and forth, but you've been dropping stuff, and people have been dropping stuff in the comments. I guess they just like it like that for right now.
All right. Well, they showed up. Erica said they're in their pajamas. It's 9 o'clock.
You can turn your camera off. We can just hear your voice.
Oh, that the tongue just put up. This is a good point. She said, "What was going on when she baptized him?" Yes,
I can take a guess. You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So if you look at how the whole thing started, right? When you get to the scene with the Faithful Five, and no, it wasn't the Faithful Five. It was the scene with the Sumters.
Mm-hmm.
You should talk about them later too.
Yeah,
they're some of my favorite characters because they made a comment that saying, you know, she was ready to divorce him, but she didn't. Mm-hmm. So it's like she went against her judgment and stayed with him, but yet you could see that seething anger is still there. You know, that what the heck are you doing? And you know, it wasn't a thing where, you know, he stripped down and you just slap in the back of his head. She was legitimately angry, and I think was contemplating, do I want to let you up?
Yeah,
because you saw bubbles coming out that baptism. Yeah. And honestly, I was waiting for him to start fighting, but he didn't. But it's like
that was the other part too.
What?
I thought he was going to say something too. I thought he was going to, you know, respond like, "Why you keep me down there that long?"
Right. Yeah. He. And the funny thing is, of all things that he argued with her about, it was whether they say amen or amen. That's what they argued about. Not you try to kill me. But in the midst of a baptism, it was how you want to say amen or amen. But you could just see that seething anger the whole time through. But I mean, she said it, you know, not to spoil the end, but she did tell you what her intention was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yes, he did not struggle. You're right. Maybe I'm not saying he knew he deserved it, but I don't know. I guess he didn't want to fight to be embarrassed, or I'm not sure. But old girl wasn't letting him up right away.
You know, unless he wanted to be taken out.
Oh, getting to that. You want to go there or you don't want to go there?
I mean, unless he want to be taken out.
Oh.
You know, because sometimes your stuff can be so deep until, you know, this might be an easier way to go.
Yeah. I'm going to go out in a baptismal accident. Monique says to go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get your dog. I'm bending over. I'm sorry because Bentley trying to get in on this scene.
Okay.
Oh, let's say PK. What name went up there? If that was your daughter married, what does it say here? That was your daughter married to that environment. What type of advice would you have given her while eating muffins?
Erica Johnson.
That was another scene. I'm glad you brought that one up because Mama gaslighted that girl. I mean, I really thought that was going to be, when she went to her mom, I really thought that her mom was going to support her and was going to give her some advice like, you know, girl, you need to come up out of that or whatever. But when her mom did that, I'm like, wow. He just sent it back. And I'm trying to think, it was another movie where the mother did the same thing. Oh, one was Ike and Tina. One was
What's love got to do with it?
Waiting to Exhale. It was Savannah. That was Whitney Houston's character.
Okay.
And remember her, the guy she was going with was married.
Oh yeah.
His mother was saying, but you know, he's so good to you, and you know, he's in a situation. And the mom knew he was married. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mother did the same thing. Yeah, that piece right there. So no, yeah, if that had been first of all, no, I don't think that would have been Erica, because y'all may not know, but Erica's of my two kids, she the one with the tempers. Not, Jesus is still working on her with that piece right there.
I mean, you went there. I mean,
and I'm just gonna leave that right where that is. But
blink one eye if you're in danger. Blink the left one if you're in danger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's go to that then. Since we went there about her mom, let's just talk about first ladies in general. And why do y'all have to suffer through your man's crap, especially when they're pastors?
Well, being as how I wrote a whole book on it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. If you have not got it, make sure you get your copy of When the Morning Comes by B. Johnson, available on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm coming to this with a whole lot of receipts.
Right.
So I got a whole book on it.
But yeah, I mean, and I'm gonna tell my thoughts on that too. But go ahead, Ma.
Wow. So that's a deep question, and I say that's a deep question because to me it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me just speak from my experience. Let me just speak from where I was coming from. And for me, it still boils down, and it even boiled down for Trinity in the movie. And that is a choice. You make a decision. Trinity in the movie made a decision. She made the decision to stay with her husband, knowing all of the crap that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we can assume, I mean, because in one way for her, it was, did she love him so much that she was just willing to go to whatever extent for him? But then when you get to the other part in the movie where she says, I just need you to get me back back on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So now for me, it made me to wonder, so are you doing it for him to protect him, or are you doing everything that you can do because you want the position? So that's for me where it, I wasn't sure how it landed for her. But just speaking from my own experience, it was a choice. And so when it all happened, everything happened so suddenly. You wake up one morning and you feel your marriage is one way and it's all hunky-dory, peachy keen, and in less than 12 hours later, your whole world flips upside down. Your mind doesn't change just that quickly. You don't switch off like a switch. It doesn't turn off like that. And so for me, it was, I'm not going out like that. We're not doing this. But it still was a process, so you made up your mind. For me, I made up my mind. I'm going to fight for this. But I think I know what caused me to want to even fight for this is when I saw his remorse and how he wanted to fight for it. But he was only going to fight if I was willing to fight, because if I didn't want to be bothered, he was not going to force me.
So that was a comment I was making to my wife on the way home, because of course, because of the book, and now everybody pretty much knows in the family history, that was honestly this. I would say this movie kind of hit a little bit different. It's one thing to be. It's one thing to be outside of clergy and to see this movie. It's one thing to be inside of clergy and to have your own story and to see this movie. It kind of hits a little bit differently.
Yes.
And I'll say that, the thing when I was telling my wife, I said, okay, I could see why. And I know I've asked you this question plenty of times. Why did you stay? And I said, I could see why Mom would have stayed. I said, because unlike this character, Dad apologized, or he showed remorse. Lee Curtis basically showed no remorse.
No, he never did. Not to her.
No, not to her. Not really to the church at all. It was you went from all of us, you went from in the beginning of the movie talking about, you know, look how blessed I am because all these nice clothes. So all of a sudden, you know, I got to save people, or, you know, they're coming to see me. It's like you never had any growth from any of this. You never showed no, I'm sorry for what you done went through. I'm sorry for all the embarrassment I gave you. I'm sorry for making you feel less than you are.
Never.
Yeah.
Even that scene in the gym.
Yes.
She saw it, and I think he knew she saw it.
How could you not? He had to know that. It's like, yeah.
He never said a word.
Never.
No. Yeah. And that whole that makes a difference. But you know, it depends on the person and where you are and what you want. And so, like I said, for my situation was that was my reason. Those were my reasons. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was an easy decision. Right. And I'm not going to sit here and say, even after making the decision, that there weren't times where it was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, you know. But when you are prayerful about it, you know, God will not kind of, and just because I had to totally lean on Him, and so I know I was where I was supposed to be, and that is what makes the difference, you know. But yeah, no, Brother Man never apologized. It was something else I was going to say about something that he didn't do. He never apologized. Oh gosh, it'll come back to me. It'll come back. It was something else. I was like, you know, he did
apologize. He never put on.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So he was the whole thing was working for the big return on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
He assumed based on his name alone that people were going to come back. If I'm going to reopen my church, I'm going to be laying some groundwork, and I'm going to be talking to people because we're going to have you need to have a core group.
Yes.
There was no core. It was just he and his wife.
And honestly, so there's a thing on YouTube that I love called Cinema Sins that does things like that, point out, you know, things that don't make sense. So I was kind of doing that afterwards. I'm like, well, you're not going to open a mega church that size without having your core group. You're going to have, and plus on top of that, you're going to have at least 20 people because you got to have your ushers, you're going to have your musicians. You're not going to just go in there with just a one organ lady. You know, so like, you know, yeah, you're in the top 5. You're going to have more than a top 5. You're going to have at least a top 35. But you're right. Where was his core group?
Yeah. I was sitting there the whole time. I was going like, okay, so where are your people? You know, you should have more than the faithful 5.
And honestly, it was faithful 4 because that little girl wasn't faithful. She said she loved theater.
And you know what? She spoke truth.
She did. Yes.
No, she spoke truth because it was all a whole lot of drama. It was just a big front. That kid spoke the truth.
Right.
It was the truth.
So we got a couple of comments that people made about certain scenes. The mime scene and the car scene. So you want to get into any of them, or there's some other stuff you want to cover first?
Well, we need to talk. Yeah, the car scene.
All right, so there's 3 things I want to talk about. We got to talk about the Sumters. We got to talk about the car scene. We got to talk about the mime scene.
And we got to talk about that bedroom scene.
I don't know if I feel comfortable talking about that with my mama.
Oh, well, all the kids are, oh boy, please.
All right, where you want to go first then? This your program. Where we going first?
Go ahead with the car scene.
No, that's at the end. So we got to go through it in order, I guess.
What I did?
Well, the car scene at the end.
Okay, who do you think the Sumters represented?
Okay, let's talk that out. The Sumters. For those of y'all don't remember, those are the people that had was it Heaven's House Church. They used to be members of Wander to Greater Pastures Church, and then they started their own church. So there's something in there right along, because when did they start their own church? Because the thing they said was that, you know, the Sterling K's and Regina's church had been out of business for a while. We don't know exactly how long. So we also don't know how long these other folks had been in. But I mean, but then they go they start their own, but then they've pulled all of their congregation. So the thing that I've noticed about, at least what I felt like, is that it was very passive aggressive, shady.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I felt like the wife especially was really the one. The husband, I felt like he's kind of, I guess, as they say, she was timing up for him because he was trying to catch up to where she was. I felt like every time I looked at him, I felt like he had a dumb look on his face, and she was the one that's running circles, you know. But
it was both of them. It was she and Trinity. It was like the two wives were calling the shots.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were trading the barbs. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, what's your thoughts? I mean, because my thing was like they were sitting there. I don't want to say they was waiting, but they pounced on an opportunity. Right. Since you messed up, here we go, and now we're gonna pull your people.
Yeah, they were opportunists, and they didn't have any. They had false, in my opinion, false grace and mercy for them. You know, it seemed like their heart changed when you remember they said they decided not to open when they found out that they opened up the week before that Sterling Brown I can't think the other church, Trinity.
Yeah, Trinity and
what was the name of the church? Wandering
to Greater Paths, I believe.
The title by itself was
well,
when Wandering for Greater Path, when they decided not to open on Easter, but to open up the week before, the Sumters weren't aware. And remember, the Sumters decided to open up a week before too, and not on Easter Sunday because they were going to give way to, because they said they needed it more than they did.
Now you want to know what I thought? I thought she was selling wolf tickets. I thought they really. I mean, when I looked at it again, now you know, on a second watch, I'm like, nah, they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because you were so adamant that I'm going to do. Come on, Easter is the holy Super Bowl. I mean, so you know, everybody's going to gun for Easter. So to me, when she said that, I didn't believe it. I'm like. At first, when I first saw the movie, I'm like, yeah, maybe they were trying to be nice. But then when I'm looking at it again, like, I think they did it on purpose. I think they pulled that one on purpose.
That's the point because you know, in the Black community, we know what's going on there by the church. So
yeah, we do. They would have known this church is coming up, so we want to make sure you only got your faithful five.
It's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I don't know if I believe this one.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for the behind the scenes so we can find out for sure. But I'm like,
yeah.
Right. As Uncle said, they knew the deal. Yes, they did. They knew the deal. Yeah. And it probably was the wife's idea. She seemed like she'd be a little cutthroat with him.
Oh yeah, I thought they were just. To me, I got the impression that it was this is another up and coming ministry who, really was just another version of.
Yes.
They were just a younger version.
A younger version with the same, you know, loud suits and everything, and coordination. That's all it was. Just a younger version.
He might not have been into what, you know, what Curtis was into, but it was just a younger one. Yeah, they're right. She did go for the juggler. Yes, she was. She was that little girl, that little woman. I looked at her. I said, she may be little, but that little thing right there.
She cutthroat, man. What grandma say, small potato but hard to peel.
How about when they started praying for him?
You already got two. Oh man,
oh my gosh, there were a couple of scenes where I have to admit I just kind of laughed out loud because it caught me, man. And it was like that right there.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that was the Sumters. Yeah, you said maybe they had to change their heart. I think they was shady. Shakur, I think her name was Shakur. Yeah, Shakur and Keon. Yeah. They knew what they were doing. They did it on purpose.
She said pink Prada.
All right, so that was them. So what else we need to talk about? So
why do you think she was so hooked on that hat, that $2,000 hat?
Why do I think she was?
Yeah. That hat she would not give up.
I don't know.
So maybe is that the because you got the first lady with the hat. I don't know what's that thing about the hat. If anybody online here, you got any thoughts in reference to that?
What I kind of putting me what Reverend Cass is saying is exactly what I was kind of thinking.
What's that?
Was one at the very end. It was about rebellion. No, I'm gonna do what I want to do because you clearly do what you want to do. So I'm gonna.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I kind of felt like is I know you told me plenty of times that when a woman cuts her hair, she's going to do something. Well, Trinity wasn't going to cut her hair, but she's going to wear this loud hat.
No matter what he said.
No matter what you say, I'm gonna wear it because I'm gonna assert myself. So that's the way I kind of thought about it. Yeah, I agree with you, Miss Tracy. I don't think it was about the price either. I think she just was going to wear what she's going to wear, and she knew he didn't like it.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, so she's just gonna do whatever she wants.
She did.
Yeah. That was a good question. Yeah, so all right, let's go ahead, and it's already 10 o'clock, so I guess we're at the creep hour. So you can go ahead and talk about the scene you want to talk about.
That bedroom scene.
Okay.
Y'all online, y'all saw that bedroom scene? You didn't say anymore. That bedroom scene spoke volumes.
Yeah.
I can leave that right there. At first, I was like, why did they put this in here? This, when it started off, I'm like, this wasn't really necessary. And then when it went along, I was like, okay.
It basically told you everything.
It told everything, and it just told from the standpoint how willing or what's the word I'm looking for? Either she was so determined to get what she wanted until she was willing to do anything to the point of being willing not to be satisfied and to be used by her own husband.
Yeah.
By her own husband. And he being so inconsiderate and so self-centered that he made it all about him, even in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And he goes to sleep with a smile on his face, and she over there feeling all frustrated.
Yeah.
And clearly that must be how it all went about, because when she said, "Can we do it the regular way this time?"
That told you something right there too.
That's all I'm saying.
That he can't face you.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm not gonna keep on talking about this with you. I feel uncomfortable already. Safe sanctuary.
Okay, we leave that alone.
I'll play. I'm sorry. We're adults. I'm an adult now. But yeah, if you think about it, he couldn't face her.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that, at least the way that it was on the screen, what she did for him, he didn't have to see her.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
That's a true point. That's a true point. And it, which goes to the thing. Here's the other thing is coming back to the church in general too. And just talking about homosexuality and same sex in the church, where the church can be so condemning. Well, let me just back up. There's a couple of things I want to say about that. First of all, when it comes to sex in the church has made sex taboo when sex was created by God for his people. It has its own boundaries. God has set his rules. He has set his regulations on how this is supposed to go. But the church has been so taboo about it until now the world has defined what sex is, what love is, and how it should be expressed. Mm-hmm. And so the horse is out the barn now, and we can't pull it back in. But because the church isn't elected to do her part, because I firmly believe sex education should be part of Christian education. Yeah. Because it is of God. So when you start making it very taboo, it goes there. But then when it comes to the other part, when it comes to same-sex preferences, in my opinion, the church has been very, very harmful in that area right there, where It has othered people, made people feel less than. We don't mind them coming and being our musicians, but at the same time, we got a problem in the other way. And so here the church is being hypocritical at the same time where we become so homophobic. But when the truth of the matter is, our responsibility, or I would just say what I know what God has spoke to me, and that is my only responsibility is you just love the person and leave the rest to God. Because I just remember asking God what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to handle this. And he was just like, you just love them and I take care of the rest. And that works for me.
Yeah.
And so when you start talking about people and engaging in same sex, but what I'm saying is for Lee Curtis, let's say he always knew he was, but did not feel he was allowed to be who he truly was because of the church position regarding same sex. Yeah. And so now here you have a man who is not living his truth and comes in and ruins not only his wife, but you also impacted in other your congregation. Because sometimes we think that the sin we have, we've sinned against this person, but sin always creates a ripple effect.
Always.
You
had a congregation of, of course, in the movie of 25,000 per Sunday, but because you weren't able to be what you really were. Now you can debate it. You can say, was he really just homosexual, or was he in fact actually a pedophile? Because when you look at some of the boys that seemed like he may have encountered, they were young.
He made sure they were 18 and over.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, yeah. Yeah. That was
18 is still a kid in my opinion.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely now. I didn't think that then, but I know it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because those guys, those young men were hurt. And the same way a woman, you can have a woman who's seduced by a man. I mean, that's all part of, when we did the accountability training, that when you have people who are subordinate to you and you are in a higher position, it doesn't matter if you are of age. If you are in a higher position and you use your position and power to use someone sexually, I'm going to look at you.
Right.
First.
Yeah. I remember in seminary, they used to tell us that they said, if you are a pastor in a church, they would tell us, don't date somebody in your church because it's a power dynamic. Or if you do, you have to divorce all of your pastoral rights and titles to them. So you can do that. So I remember with Chris, I had to tell her that, because I was officially a pastor when we were dating, it's like, okay, I have to divorce what I am as a pastor to you, so I can date you, so when I have no issue, and of course all the pastors knew, so that way can't nobody say anything about improprieties. But you're right, it is a power dynamic that is there.
Right. Yeah. And how, they were referencing that he was, giving them gifts and so forth. And so,
cars and stuff. Yeah.
And so who's to say, everybody's saying it was consensual, but really, was it? Was it consensual?
That's the question. Because that's coercion.
Evidently, those young men didn't think so.
Right.
At least in the movie.
Except for the one, which is near the end when we're talking about the car scene. The one did ask, did you really like me?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Yes. That the one young man, the one that stopped the traffic and said, did you really like me? Because he liked him and he needed him.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right, Chris. We just said it. The guy said, I needed you.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. What's that, Janae? Janae said, I thought it was conditional. These gifts and me helping you and taking care of you are conditional upon yeah. That's a good point.
Yep.
I'm giving you this, but you got to do something for me.
Or even what Ken was right, even with the sound guy. You offering him, money or a position.
True. Yeah.
His face up and everything.
Yeah, it was kind of got tight up in there.
Just a little bit.
All right, we got what, 2 more scenes to go?
All right, so do we want to go to the car scene and go to the mime scene? Well, we want to hold the
mime at the end.
We'll hold the mime at the end.
Yeah, what'd you say, Eric?
The car scene, the knuck if you buck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our generation. That's typical.
What Erica say?
She said the knuck if you buck is your generation.
That's typical. We gonna do that in the car.
Well, tell her to get on camera.
I was just saying that the knuck if you buck part,
yes,
is our generation. That's like our fight song. I think somebody said that earlier. Like, that's you ready to go.
The knuck if you buck scene was amazing. It's my second favorite scene in the movie.
I just enjoyed the scene. I had no idea what they were saying.
We know that's like the Black national anthem for us.
For our age. So let me think of it. What would be the equivalent for your age?
Yeah, give me some.
The equivalent for your age would be "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud."
There you go.
Where you get militant, you feeling yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
So "Knuck If You Buck" isn't exactly a Black power song. It's more so, we gonna rumble.
We Black and we got power when we sing it.
There we go.
So it's not about love.
Oh no.
No.
You ready to fight? That's
it's a fight song.
So
okay.
It's interesting that they played it on their way to the other people's church.
Yes, you're right. They played that on the way so he was getting himself hyped up.
He was getting himself hyped up because we ready to go fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
He needed to get himself hyped because when he got there, he said they're gonna take everybody. So he knew what was coming.
Yeah.
He said they're gonna take everybody.
Uh-huh.
Fight the power. There you go. That's right, Rochelle. When it's fight the power, that's what it's kind of like.
Okay, got it.
That's a good one. Thank you.
All right, got it. Okay, I'll just add that into my repertoire. Now I'll go back and listen to it so I can understand. So
Chris and I, we got to officially learn all the lyrics so we can do it in the car and do a TikTok.
I'll just sing it for you.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh man. So yeah, okay. So we were talking about the car scene. So we're gonna go. So that was one scene, and then it's at 10:11 now. You want to get to the mime, or is there anything else that's jumping out to you that you'd like to discuss? That's you feeling the Lord is telling you to share with us?
No, I no. I don't know if anybody else on here, if you got anything you want to discuss in reference to that before we get to the mine scene. You got anything up on here?
Huh?
Oh, they're discussing the lyrics now. Okay, so what them lyrics at? What a song?
I don't think you. Well, this is.
It's gonna get shut down, so I can't play it. But it was the intro beat during the countdown.
I'll just tell you, the intro is we knucking, we bucking, and ready to fight. That's the beginning intro.
Okay, all right, okay.
Well, not the beginning, but close enough.
Yes. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Chris gonna send us the lyrics. Okay. I'll know. I'll learn. I'll know it by Sunday.
If you come out singing that on Sunday, I swear.
It's become First Christian's fight song. Is it appropriate for that?
Okay, let that be known. Knuck If You Buck is now the official song of FC3. Knuck If You Buck is the official song of FC3. So make sure you learn it. Make sure you play it on your way to church, I guess, maybe.
We need t-shirts and house.
Knuck If You Buck is I never thought I would see this day. I don't even know how to feel about it, but Knuck If You Buck.
Goodness. Yeah, you're right. We might can preach. We'll preach.
Okay, let's preach Knuck If I'm gonna let you do it. No, when Erica preaching again. Let Erica preach it.
I'll leave that to y'all. Y'all preach that.
Okay, fine. Then you gotta preach fight the power.
Now the beast said he gonna change his membership.
He always ready to leave. What else to do?
Oh gosh! All right. The mime scene.
I'm trying to see if I can upload a picture real quick for the mime scene because her face in that was so
That thing, that mime scene, that I had to be honest, that took me out.
All right, I'm gonna let you go ahead, go in.
No, you can pull it out. It just.
Oh no, go ahead. I mean, because I'm not gonna show the whole clip. I'm just trying to find the image.
Yeah, if you find it, it just took me out. I think it's when he came up and he was like, I got this wonderful idea. You know, I just know it's this idea and it's going to work. I just need you to trust me. And you see, she was questioning it. And even though we don't hear what he's telling her, it was not said what he wanted her to do, she had to agree to it. She had to go through the process of getting the paint on.
While still wearing a hat.
While still wearing a hat. And so what caught me was why he put the paint on her?
Mm.
Why you made her look like Bobo the Clown?
Because he needed the pizzazz, he said?
No, because again, he uses her. She is a prop for him. And he used her again, but she agreed to be used.
You put it that way. That's a harsh way of saying it.
With her church hat on, with her Sunday suit, and she's out there dancing to I Never Would Have Made It.
Right.
That was loaded.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, she has gone to the lowest of lows. The lowest of lows. And I really felt bad. I felt bad for her. I thought she, especially at the end, I thought she was coming to the breaking point. Yeah, yes.
What was that?
Dr. McIntyre, Blind Devotion.
She said Blind Devotion?
Blind Devotion.
Yeah, it really was.
And yeah, and then you saw how he wanted her to shake. Yeah, you're right, Keon. I'm glad you brought that up. You know? Yeah, but how it was very suggestive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like you really almost got. It was almost like you pimping her. You got her out on the street corner. Okay, you are pimping her. You are using her body, the whole 9 yards for people to come into the church for you, because they're not coming for God. They were coming for you.
They're coming to see me. Look, the mind.
That right there.
Sorry to pitch in the best, but that's the best I could get.
You should get an Academy Award just for that.
She deserves every award for that scene by herself. That scene in the ending monologue she had, give her every award. I don't know how you top that.
Yeah, what Janae says, she said bring Janae on. She didn't love herself. She was trying.
I'm sorry. There we go. Here we go. Sorry.
She didn't love herself. She was trying to love him and herself, but she was empty. She was tired. She was tried out, desert empty. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it needs to be you.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She had a whole lot of healing because her mama sure didn't help. And that was clear early on that her mama didn't help. Well, yeah. Yeah, that mind scene, it just kind of just left you, at the end, it just to me, it just left, it was just hurtful. And I would have to say this too, that yes, that movie was loosely based on Eddie, on Eddie Long and his situation. But you know what I really felt bad about? His wife is still here.
Mm.
His wife is still here, and here this is back up in her face again.
Mm.
And so that's the other piece to it. And for me, she is still here. Irrelevant why she stayed. We don't have anything at all to do with that. The point of the matter is that woman went through something, and here she is reliving it again. And I think we just need to keep that in mind.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was honestly is to me in a way it's a stroke of genius that the scene ends with her as a mime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think about first of all, your face is painted, so she's been trying to wear a mask this whole time, and the camera's always catching her in times when the mask is down. She's trying to put it back up because how many times she got that upset and disgusted face, and then she switch it real quick with a smile, So she's trying to keep that mask up, trying to keep that face up, but then a mime is imitates something, acts like something is real, the fake box, all that stuff. They're acting like they're pulling on air, making it look like it's real. It's like that's exactly what she was doing. She was trying to make this life real.
With no voice.
Yes. Woman of God, with no voice.
No voice.
With no voice. You're right. Making it real with no voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No voice. The mask thing is real, I wrote about that.
Yes, you did. Shameless plug.
I told you I keep receipts.
And you've been pulling them tonight. Can't nobody say nothing about you.
Yeah, I mean, because and you wear the mask for different reasons. And all of us wear one, all of us put one on. And I do think, especially as clergy, as parents, and let me just qualify what I mean by that is that sometimes we wear the mask because we do have to protect those around us. So, for example, sometimes as a pastor, we need to appear to be calm, cool, and collected so that you don't get the congregation disturbed.
Yep.
Even though on the inside, you fall apart. So sometimes as a leader, you cannot fall apart and go through a whole lot of changes when things are crumbling around you, because it's going to make it worse for those who are following you. It's like a parent, a mother and a dad. They're going to put on a face what something's happened to keep the kids calm. But when you look at it, the mask part, and again, speaking for, just from my situation, it was quickly putting on the mask because I just heard the most devastating thing in my life that I thought I would never hear. And I had a church meeting to go to. I hadn't had time to process anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy to just step in and keep going because I hadn't figured anything out. And so you put it on. And you put it on because you don't want anybody to really see where you are, because at this point, and we do. The only thing is some people put it on, don't ever take it off. Because you're going to have to start dealing with whatever the issues may be. So anyway.
I saw a good question. It's not something that we can answer with all positivity, but it's something we can at least ponder. Why do you think this movie was written? I guess we both can take stab at that if you want to.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that was very good. Why do you think this movie was written?
Wouldn't it be interesting if it was God inspired?
Why not? Why not?
It got the church talking.
And God can work in irreverent ways.
Yep.
But not in the way that you always expect.
Yeah. So that's a good question. Minister Kim, that's a real good question.
And with when you study the Old Testament prophets, and even of course Jesus, they did things to cause a scene. They did things to make you uncomfortable. Isaiah, he walked naked. Jesus flipped tables. I mean, they did things to make you uncomfortable. So they get a point across. So this movie, I think, I'm not saying it is, but could it be that's prophetic, that it's making us uncomfortable? Because when you think about it, as absurd as he was as a character, it still says something that we all can think about somebody who's like that. That even that is art imitating life, is that even though this is made a movie, there is so much grounded truth and trauma that a lot of people have endured or are still enduring in these types of settings.
Right.
And is what you said, the church needs an enema. What are we really supposed to be?
Yeah.
Are we a prosperity joint where we're only blessed if we have stuff, or what?
Yeah, and I think for the church to cleanse itself, it means it will require that each of us individually, we have a personal responsibility between ourselves and God. Each one of us have to look at who we are, who we say or claim to be, and to have an introspection of our own selves as Christians. How are we represented? Who am I?
Yeah.
Because the church is we look at the church, and when we're talking about the church, we're really talking about it from an institutional standpoint. But if we're talking about getting the church clean, that means it is from an institutional standpoint, but it requires each one of us for the Holy Spirit to deal with each one of us individually.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes and it moves forward in that respect. You know what I mean? Because when Jesus comes back, he isn't coming back. He says coming back for a church without spot or wrinkle. He's not coming back for an institution.
No.
He isn't coming back for the Methodists or the Baptists or the Catholic. He's not coming back for that. He's coming back for the ecclesia. Those of us who called out,
mm-hmm.
that's who he's coming back for. And so it requires us to have that, to be responsible enough and to be insightful enough, but be humbled enough to understand that all of us contribute to the problem.
Mm.
I don't care how much we're going well, I'm not, no, we do. If you're complicit to it, then we're contributing. And another way that's contributing, another thing that kind of disturbed me, I think we just need to hit this before it's time for us to sign off.
Sure.
Sometimes, Erica did bring this up, and how sometimes people will use what's going on in the church as an excuse to leave the church.
Yes.
But the news flash is God is not going to let you off the hook, because yes, he's going to deal with the church, but he also going to deal with you for leaving.
Mm.
And so there is still a corporate responsibility, and then there's an individual responsibility. There's corporate accountability, and then there's individual accountability. And so, you have those who, I just can't deal with the church anymore. The Lord knows my heart. I'm just going to stay home, and I can worship the Lord from here. Are you really? Because the Bible also says, that we are not to forsake assembling ourselves together. So even if you stay in your home, are you assembling yourself with someone other than yourself to study the word and continue to grow? If you're not doing that, then you are forsaking.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time, that's what we're not even doing. And because we're in the midst of COVID, half of us haven't even had communion since 2 years?
Yeah, almost 3. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it causes everybody to, kind of step back and just kind of take a look at where we are individually, and what is it that we can do? What is our responsibility, first of all, to God, and our commitment to God, and helping the church to heal? Because we all have a responsibility in this.
Mm.
And so that's just my piece for.
That was a deep piece.
Yeah, because sometimes folks, we've been to enough funerals where, you hear the obituary, they enjoy gospel music.
And you see them one time at church.
They listen to gospel music every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did you do?
Right.
So anyway,
that's why I like that we don't say members anymore. Like, as it's a club, we say partners, because church is meant to be a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be a community, where you don't just almost, if someone within a family, you don't just roll out because you're not happy what they're doing. You come to them and tell them what's not rolling right. You try to work it out.
Yeah.
Try
to. Lynn Chevelle, she brings up a good point. I didn't know this. In case you were not aware, the writers released this movie in the past as a short film, but with different actors. Oh.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it was originally a short film but then Monkey Paw Productions picked it up.
So I did see it received a Sundance Award. Was it for this film or for the one that that Lynn is speaking about?
I'm not sure. I did not get that in my research, so I'm not positive on it. So I can't really say.
Okay. We got one more question here. This is from Janae. Want to bring that up, Ricky?
Sure. This last one about none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect. Sound great. None of us are perfect. We should always extend grace upon one another. We all come with issues and have baggage. But how can we become understanding to one's needs in the church, including the clergy? How do we become understanding to one's needs in the church, including the clergy? I don't know.
Well, I maybe one way is put yourself in the place of the clergy. And I mean, and it goes. I guess the best way to go back is just how Jesus say, we treat each other how you want to be treated.
The golden rule.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. But yeah, I think if some of us step back and just put ourselves in the clergy, in the pastors or the church leaders position, that it will help. And yeah, Dr. McIntyre just said we need to understand that clergy persons, we are human too, with human frailties. And that is the thing about being called into the ministry, is that God calls the broken. He calls it. And everybody coming in ministry is jacked up.
Everybody. If you knew all of our stories, you'd be like, why are they pastoring? Because there is no such thing as a perfect pastor at all.
No, what is I read? I forgot what one pastor said. The preachers are just the called out from the called out. So it's just another group of sheep. Yeah. In the flock. It is what it is.
Oh, just saw. So in 2018, that's when they won the award for this film.
Oh, that was good. I'm glad somebody. What's her name? Lynn. I'm glad she brought that up to us. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. They're actually twins that wrote and produced this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. You pretty much summarized it.
All right. Well,
read the 10:30 wishing hour.
Yeah. Guess we better go now. We'll hit everything else. Just want to ask everybody who's online, if you on Facebook and if you are on First Christian's page, if you have not already befriended First Christian, hit the little like button on there. We would appreciate if you would do that. If you are on YouTube, please smash that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up so we can kind of build up our following, because we know you're out there.
Yeah.
We just want to keep following. So anyway, what's our next one coming up on the 21st of September?
Yep.
So 21st of September, we just want to be talking about some issues. And this is a whole lot of stuff that's going on in this world right now. And folks have really asked the question, is Jesus about to come back? It's like, sound like I hear him walking across heaven. So we just kind of want to get into that, if you will. So anyway, thank you everybody again for joining
so much.
Right. Oh, let me just ask, does 9 o'clock time work better for you guys than the 7 o'clock? Does 9 o'clock work better than 7 o'clock? If it does, let us know. Put it in the chat, send us a message if not coming on at 9 o'clock, and we wouldn't be on for an hour and a half like we are now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting yeses and yes. Yes, it's 8 here. Woo-hoo. Okay.
That's right, because she's in Texas.
She's in Texas, right. Okay. Like 9. Okay.
All right, now that works. No, we sleepy. Can we split the baby and do 8?
Can we split the baby and do 8?
Well, yeah, I mean, it might work because 7 o'clock can be a push sometimes. So yeah, but we might need to consider that.
And somebody said, what about 8? We can look at 8 too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much.
Have
a good night. We will see you Sunday, hopefully in the house and not just online after PK made that comment. We see y'all there. Pastor Bright, he's gonna be.
What's the song again?
Knuck if you butt.
Knuck if you butt.
We're gonna work on that this weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Ricky, I'm gonna have it ready this weekend. We're gonna be all right come Sunday.
You gonna have it ready?
Yeah, we're gonna have rehearsal tomorrow. She gotta get right.
Hold on. Now I gotta see if I can actually get it. Because if I can pull it, I'm gonna share it. We gonna just go out on that.
Jasmine told me to call Rito. Tell Rito yes, because Rito.
My name is Jordan Taylor Wright from Taylor Cut Films.
What is that?
Oh, you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, anyway, let me see. Can I share my screen?
Uncle Barry leaving.
Kim said, keep your day job.
Keep your day job.
She right. She right.
All right.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Y'all.
Jumping off from on the stage, throwing bow like Johnny Cage. All my throwing rides, knocking down a barricade. Telling when we be too deep and MOB is too elite. Flawless, you'll be taller, getting close to me. Buzzing constantly, rapping in your city street. Broken bones lay alone, scattered across the concrete. Knucking if you bucking, you'll be ducking if you get too close. In my eyes, you wasn't wise, I think it's time I knock you.